Welcome to The Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to understanding some really fascinating shifts happening right now. Today, we're getting into something tricky, fragrance. How this, elusive luxury is finally starting to mesh with the digital age. And this isn't just about, new perfumes on a shelf. It's really digging into how memory, emotion, and our connections are being redefined in this data-heavy world. So our mission in this deep dive is to show you how AI, digital scent tech, and crucially, data aren't just tweaking things. They're fundamentally reshaping the future of fragrance. We want to give you a real shortcut to grasping this transformation.
Yeah, you've really nailed the core issue there. It's been a paradox for so long, hasn't it? You could always, easily see a lipstick color online or check the cut of a dress. But scent, the invisible sense, it always felt beyond digital capture. But honestly, something pretty extraordinary is happening right now. We're seeing traditional perfume making kind of collide with really cutting-edge tech. It's moving way beyond just showing a bottle online. It's heading towards these deeply personal, data-driven experiences, and that promises to change everything about how we interact with fragrance.
Exactly. That's the big hurdle they're overcoming, right?
Yeah.
How do you make something so intangible, so personal like scent, feel real in our very visual digital lives? And this is where it starts to get really interesting. We're already seeing things happen, like perfumer AI models that aren't just mixing ingredients, but are actually trying to decode our emotional states from data, or VR headsets letting you walk through a Parisian perfume workshop. And these digital scent platforms are building actual scent libraries you might be able to stream someday.
And it's popping up in some surprising real-world ways, too. Think about billboards. Billboards you can actually scratch and sniff with a QR code right there to buy. Or neuroscience labs, literally mapping brainwaves to figure out which smells you genuinely prefer, subconsciously even. And AI tools, they're going beyond just suggesting perfumes. They're blending raw materials based on things like nude boards you upload or specific memories you want to evoke. This stuff, it's not science fiction anymore. It's becoming actual commerce. It's driving engagement.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. How are brands actually doing this? It sounds like a whole new kind of tech stack, almost a sensory one. Each part sort of builds on the others to connect that digital world with our noses. Let's break down maybe 6 key tools shaping how we'll shop for fragrance. First, smelling screens. What are these exactly?
Okay, so picture your TV or maybe your tablet, but it can actually emit scents. Inside, there are usually these tiny hidden fans and small cartridges holding different fragrance compounds.
Right, so the example is you see an ad pop up for a new summer perfume.
Exactly. And right then, from your sofa, you get a whiff of, say, fresh lemon and jasmine. It links the visual straight to the smell right in that moment. That's the game changer.
Okay, that makes sense. Then you mentioned scratch and sniff in the wild, like the magazine strips.
Sort of, yeah, but scaled way up.
Yeah.
We're talking billboards, bus stops, even integrated right onto product packaging now. Rare Beauty did this in New York scented billboards. You could literally walk up, scratch it, smell the fragrance,
Scan a QR code right there.
and shop instantly online. It turns that fleeting moment of curiosity into a direct sales path. Very clever.
Definitely clever. Okay, next on the list, perfumer AI models. These sound complex.
They are pretty sophisticated. Think of advanced algorithms trained on just tons of data, millions of scent formulas, consumer reviews, buying patterns, preferences, and they can do more than just recommend. They can actually help create totally new fragrances. Or they can suggest existing ones based on your personality, maybe your current mood, even what you've bought before.
So it's like having like a master perfumer, but one who's available 24/7 and remembers absolutely everything you like and dislike.
It's a pretty good analogy, yeah. That perfect memory aspect is key.
Okay, then there's VR with scent integration, taking virtual reality beyond just games.
Exactly. It's about creating these really immersive perfume experiences.
Yeah.
Imagine virtually walking through a rose garden in Morocco, or touring a fragrance factory, maybe exploring some kind of imagined scent world, and actually smelling what you're seeing. There's usually a small connected device, like maybe clipped to the headset or nearby.
And it releases the scents.
Yeah, it syncs the smell precisely with the visuals in the VR world. It makes the whole thing feel much more real, much more multisensory.
That synchronization must be tricky but powerful. Okay, number 5, neuroscent technology, combining brain science and perfume.
Right. This is where it gets really deep into personalization. Labs are using tools like EEG headsets, the ones that measure brain activity, to track your brain's genuine, unfiltered reactions to different smells.
Wow. So the goal is?
The goal is to match you with scents that actually trigger specific feelings for you, like calm or energy or romance based on your brain's response, not just what you think you like.
Which I guess makes buying online less of a gamble, if you know it's likely to make you feel good.
Precisely. It reduces that risk of getting something home and realizing you don't actually connect with it.
Okay, and the last one, digital scent delivery platforms.
Yeah, companies like Allorama are working on this. Think of it like creating scent playlists.
Hmm?
These are digital files you could send to a special device in your home.
Like a smart diffuser.
Sort of, yeah, but more advanced. It can reproduce a whole range of complex smells based on that digital file.
So you use the analogy like Spotify, but for smells.
Exactly. You could stream different scents.
Yeah.
Maybe morning citrus to wake you up, or a warm evening oud for relaxing. It's about curating your environment with scent on demand.
Okay, these technologies are individually fascinating. But you mentioned earlier, it's the connection, right? The data.
Absolutely. All this amazing tech.
Mm-hmm.
Smelling screens, VR, AI perfumers.
Hmm.
It's incredible, but it doesn't mean much without the right data feeding into it. That's the real, luxury ingredient in this whole new picture.
And when you say the right data, you're not just talking about like my email address or where I live.
Definitely not. We're moving way beyond those old, stale email lists or basic demographics. It's much richer, much more nuanced than that.
Okay, so break it down for us. What does the right data actually mean here? What types are we talking about?
Well, I'd say it boils down to about 4 key types. First, you've got your first-party data. That's the basic stuff. Who the customers are, what they've actually bought from you, how they've clicked around on your website or app. Foundational.
Got it. Standard stuff. What's next?
Second is behavioral data. This goes deeper. It's about when people are browsing for scents. How long do they linger looking at a specific perfume? Which ones do they keep coming back to? Which ones do they add to cart but then abandon?
Ah, okay. More about the how and when.
Exactly. Then third, and this is really crucial for fragrance, emotional data, trying to understand the why. What moods, what life moments, what memories are actually driving their choices. Why that scent now?
Well, that sounds harder to capture.
It is, but it's where things like quizzes or analyzing reviews or even those neuroscience results come in.
Mm-hmm.
And fourth, there's important moment data. This is about context. Birthdays, anniversaries, maybe seasonal changes like the start of summer, cultural holidays, moments that often prompt someone to look for a new fragrance.
Right. So putting it all together, every interaction someone has, whether they sniff a sample strip in a mall in Dubai or smell that smart billboard or just watch a TikTok review, all those little signals can potentially be captured and connected.
That's the goal. That's the huge leap. You connect all those scattered touch points.
And AI is the key to making sense of it all.
Precisely. AI is what can take all those diverse, sometimes really subtle signals and translate them into genuinely personalized conversations, not just generic marketing blasts. Think about sending a follow-up message after purchase that actually knows this customer seems to prefer oud scents for evenings, but like citrus during the day.
Or like someone visited Paris, bought a perfume.
Yeah. And months later, you could retarget them with a curated Parisian memory scent kit, maybe based on the neighborhood they stayed in, if you have that data. That level of specific personal connection, that's what builds real loyalty now.
Yeah.
And AI makes it scalable.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for the business side, for sales. Because, in today's world, someone might first see a fragrance in a super quick TikTok video, but going from that fleeting glimpse to actually hitting buy for something as personal as scent, that still needs a lot of confidence, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You want that scent to feel right, to feel luxurious, almost like you discovered it yourself in some beautiful boutique, even if you first saw it online.
So how does this data and AI bridge that gap? How does it build that confidence and actually drive the sale?
Well, that's exactly it. The data provides the understanding to close that confidence gap, and the AI provides the scale to deliver that necessary intimacy. Together, they unlock some really powerful strategies. Think about influencer-driven personalization, for instance. It's not just about paying any big influencer. It's about matching a creator's specific style, their audience's vibe, to scent profiles that genuinely resonate. So the recommendation feels authentic, almost sensory.
Makes sense. What else?
Then there's social selling that actually sticks. Someone sees that TikTok, it gets curious, but instead of forgetting about it, you can re-engage them later with tailored offers, maybe a sample, based on what scents they seemed interested in. It follows their journey.
Right, keeping the interest alive.
And maybe the most powerful,
Sure.
building these emotional loyalty loops, using all that past purchase data, the mood insights, the important moments, to actually anticipate when that customer might be ready for their next fragrance moment, maybe before an anniversary or as seasons change.
That's moving from reactive to proactive.
Totally. And the bigger picture here, it's profound, really. The brands that win in the next wave of fragrance e-commerce, it won't just be the ones with the biggest ad budgets. It'll be the ones who can turn every single interaction with scent online or offline into a useful data signal, then turn every signal into a compelling personal story, and ultimately turn every story into a loyal customer and a sale. We're really shifting from just, selling bottles of perfume to designing entire digital scent rituals for people.
Designing digital rituals. I like that. So, okay, this brings us to the practical side. What does all this actually mean for brands right now? Whether you're a small niche boutique or a massive global player, how can you start capturing this wave immediately? Let's maybe split it. What can smaller brands do?
Yeah, okay. For small and medium brands who maybe don't have huge tech budgets, there's still some really smart, nimble things you can do. First, turn your samples into data traps. Or maybe data accelerators sounds better. Put a QR code on every single sample, whether it's given out in-store, tucked into an online order, part of an event. Link that QR code to a quick, maybe fun scent profile quiz. Instantly, you're capturing emotional preferences, behavioral clues, and contact info, building that profile from day one.
Okay, smart and low cost. What else?
Leverage low-cost AR filters. You can work with freelance creators pretty affordably to build Instagram or TikTok filters that visually tell your scent story. They're shareable, they tie into social trends, and they link that intangible scent story to something visual and viral.
Good idea, using the platforms people are already on.
Exactly. Also, think about running micro-influencer sensory journeys instead of one big splashy campaign. Send curated kits, maybe with layered scents, to niche creators, people who really focus on fragrance or have a very specific aesthetic. Ask for their genuine first sniff reactions. Often, the authenticity and the detailed feedback you get are more valuable data-wise than a huge campaign.
Right, quality over quantity there.
And you can build emotional retargeting. Use free or low-cost AI ad tools. Lots of platforms offer these now to retarget people based on the mood of the fragrance they looked at. So someone clicked on your cozy nighttime scents, you retarget them with ads, emphasizing warmth, evening rituals, that kind of thing.
Getting specific with the messaging.
Yeah. And one more, especially if you get tourist customers. Create a super simple reorder and one-click flow for tourists. Give them a little branded card at purchase with a unique link or QR code. Make it incredibly easy for them to reorder from anywhere in the world for delivery. Turns that one-off holiday purchase into a potential repeat customer.
Great practical tips for smaller players. Now, what about the big brands? The ones with deeper pockets? What can they be doing?
Okay, for the big players, the scale and immersion possibilities are obviously much larger. They could, for example, launch a VR plus scent flagship experience. Imagine putting those scent integrated VR pods we talked about into key flagship stores, or maybe high-traffic airport lounges. Let people dive into these incredible fragrance worlds for a few minutes.
And capture preference data while they're doing it.
Exactly. Capture that rich preference data in a really engaging way. Another big move. Develop a proprietary perfumer AI. This means seriously investing in training a custom AI model, specifically on their brand's historical formulas, decades of customer feedback, maybe even sales data linked to emotional trends. Create their own unique digital master perfumer.
A serious competitive advantage.
Huge. They could also integrate neuroscience testing in VIP sales. Use those EEG devices during high-end consultations, maybe for bespoke blending services. Then follow up by using AI to send those VIP clients personalized fragrance diaries or suggestions that evolve as their tastes or moods shift. Very high touch.
Wow.
And think about a digital scent subscription, actually shipping monthly scent capsules for those home devices like Alarama that are synced with their latest campaigns, maybe seasonal themes or collaborations with artists or designers. It blends the physical delivery of scent with ongoing digital storytelling, keeps the brand constantly present in the customer's home environment.
A continuous relationship.
Yes. And finally, to really grab attention, they can run attention economy hijacks. Sponsor a viral TikTok challenge, for instance. Pair popular influencers with stunning, maybe AI-generated visuals that represent the scent. Link that massive digital trend directly back to your fragrance. You capture millions of those fleeting micro moments of attention and tie them to your product.
So really different scales of opportunity there.
Definitely. The bottom line is pretty clear, though. Small brands can win by being super agile, really authentic, and deeply personal in how they collect and use data. Big brands can win by creating these unforgettable, immersive, large-scale experiences, But both win and win bigger when they stop seeing scent as just a product in a bottle and start seeing it as this incredibly rich, data-filled, evolving personal experience for their customers.
And that really wraps up our deep dive today. It's truly a fascinating intersection, isn't it? Where this ancient art of fragrance meets the cutting edge of AI and data. It feels like our whole understanding of scent, of luxury, even personal connection, it's all being fundamentally reshaped right now.
It really is. And it leaves us with a pretty provocative thought, doesn't it? If we truly are moving from just selling perfume to actually designing these digital sensory rituals, what does that imply for the future of all our sensory experiences in our homes and how we interact online, maybe even how our memories get encoded? How will these evolving sense stories continue to shape our personal worlds as life gets more and more digitized? Something to think